Welcome to the first segment of The Emerging Pearl, created by our behind-the-scenes director and producer, Eliza Boné. Her vision for the show is to inspire women to not merely exist, but to thrive and to embrace the life defined by love, courage, healing, and serenity. I'm Amanda Brzee. I'm a women's empowerment expert, coach, speaker, and energy healer, and I'm the guest host for this segment. Joining me today is Aisha Harley, an essential oils wellness advocate, educator, and mentor, and Lori Ritchie, a professional writer and writer coach. Aisha, please tell us about yourself and why you're so passionate about helping women.
Thank you so much, Amanda, and it's such a pleasure to be here with you, Lori. Well, a little bit about my background. I spent many years, as I think many women do, feeling insecure, feeling judgmental about myself, being really hard on myself, never being satisfied, comparing myself to others, and kind of feeling lonely and deeply suffering. Yeah. Even though I was out in the world trying to do good and have my career, I also spent many years in an unhealthy and abusive relationship and always put myself last. And through that process, I actually became quite ill. And having your health taken away from you is a wake-up call. And it's one of those wake-up calls where you can either identify with the story and continue down that path of illness, or you can actually do something about that and really have a shift of consciousness physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And so I always knew that there was something bigger for me to do. There was something greater for me to do. There was an important message that I had to share, although I had no idea what that was. But I always had this hope. And so in my journey of healing and kind of coming out the other side of that, I feel so strongly to be a voice for other women, especially young women, with the importance of cultivating self-love and self-care. And I don't like the word selfish, but taking time for ourselves and making ourselves a priority, because when we're healthy and we're happy and we're joyful, then that's how we make a difference, and that's how we bring love into the world, and that's how we inspire others to do the same.
I always like to say it's not selfish, it's self-love.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. Definitely. I love that.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lori, can you tell us a little bit about you and why you're passionate about empowering women?
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. I love this whole concept of emerging pearl, and I love to empower women by helping them find their voice. I think that it's taken me a long time to find my voice and be able to really speak the truth about who I am and what I am in my own life. And I love helping women do that for themselves as well. There's so much pressure on us to be something else, to be more than we are, that we always have the bar is always getting raised somewhere. And honestly, we have so much wisdom inside of us, and we have really good instincts. And a lot of the women who come to me, they're questioning themselves, they're not clear, I'm not sure what to write, I'm not sure if I'm on the right path, nobody's going to read this. And I get to say, oh yes, they will, because you have a lot of wisdom. Look at what, the wisdom that you have gotten from your life and your experiences. And we gain so much from sharing that with each other. It gives me a great deal of pleasure, and I'm absolutely passionate about
Wonderful.
this.
So tell us a little bit about how you do that through writing, through your writing coaching and your experience with writing.
Well, I help women who are becoming entrepreneurs to create authentic and compelling messages for their clients. And once again, there's so much pressure to be something else or to follow someone else. And so I help people find the right message for them. It's really okay to be yourself in business. It actually means you're going to be more successful, as I'm sure you've both found out as well. It's like you keep thinking you need to be something else. No, Just be yourself and say what you mean. And it's okay to talk from your heart. And women who are authors, I help them clarify and get really clear about the message that they're wanting to deliver, which then empowers them to deliver a really great message that's already in there.
Beautiful. So empowering them to be their own authentic voice in their business so they can really step out and be recognized for that.
Yes.
What a great gift you're giving.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. I am truly passionate about empowering women. What I like to say is that there's this undercurrent of self-sabotage that we don't typically recognize, and when it comes up, it keeps us from moving forward in the things that we really want to be doing. And so I like to say that my passion is helping women from self-sabotage and self-sacrifice to life mastery and self-mastery, so they can have more balance and more fulfillment and success and healing in their life. And many people don't realize, and so I have clients that come to me for personal coaching as well as business, but many times the business coaching clients, the things that are getting in the way are personal issues. So it's just really a passion of mine to work with women, especially in this area. So wonderful to be here with you ladies today.
Yeah, I love that.
So our topic for discussion today is about the importance of self-care, overall physical, emotional, and mental health. In some ways we can start incorporating those things into what we do for ourselves in a daily basis. As women, we're often a role of caregivers and nurturers to our families, and our time is limited and the demand for our attention is very high. Aisha, what are your thoughts on this topic of just having so much to do as women, but still wanting to take care of ourselves?
This is such a powerful topic and such an important topic for women to discuss. So I'm thrilled to be having this discussion because we all hear this topic of self-care, right? And intellectually, we all know that, but it's a whole nother thing to actually embrace it and implement it. And I know for myself, I was very resistant to it for a very long time. It's important to start with small steps, because one thing I hear so often from women is, well, I don't have time to take care of myself. Right. I have children, I have this, I have my job, I have my husband. Where is there any time? And you can't not have time to take care of yourself.
Right.
And there's some simple things that we can do and implement on a daily basis that actually don't really take time away from other things that you're doing. Sometimes it's just a shift of perspective. So just a few little tips to put out there. I really love to start my day with gratitude. And as many of you may know, our external world is a direct reflection of our internal world. And so what's going on in our thoughts and our consciousness and our internal world gets played out, right? And so if you begin your day with gratitude, like waking up and just taking a moment upon waking and thinking, I am so grateful to be alive, to be here, to have another day. None of us ever know when that's going to be taken away from us. And just working on that consciousness shift, actually, and shifting that perspective. Another thing that I love to do is I use a lot of essential oils for my healthcare. And I love every morning, I actually will make I have a roller bottle, and I'll make a little heart on my face with the roller bottle. And I look in the mirror and I say to myself, I am enough. These are my morning affirmations. I am worthy and deserving. I forgive you. I trust you. I allow myself to receive. I am healthy and vibrant, and I love you. And so what I want to say about this is that this was actually introduced to me by a coach that I was working with a couple years ago, and I was very resistant to doing this.
Yeah.
And I thought it was stupid, and it was difficult. It takes you a moment to do it. You can actually, I have it written out and I have it taped on my mirror, so I just see it there. But then what I started to notice is that it started to become my internal dialogue. And throughout the day, the affirmations would start to repeat themselves. And it began to replace the negative thinking and the destructive thinking. And it got replaced with I am enough and I love you, and working on embracing that, because again, circling that around to our internal world is reflected by our external world, and we have to be responsible for shifting that.
Those are beautiful. Yeah, that mirror work is it seems so simple, but is very powerful.
It's very powerful. And I want to say I really challenge all of the listeners to do it for a minimum of 40 days. It really takes 40 days to kind of settle in a habit and kind of begin to own it. And do it and notice the resistance and allow the resistance to be, and love yourself that much more through it, and notice the ones that you're actually resistant to.
Right.
You know, because there's some are easy and some you might really resist that. And I've heard people say, well, I want to change the languaging, I don't like the languaging, but that's ultimately resistance, right?
Yeah.
So just try it on and see what happens and what begins to manifest out of that.
Lori, what do you have for us today about, self-care that us as women can be doing for ourselves?
There are a lot of things I could say, and I really appreciate everything you said about the mirror work, because I agree with that. I've done that as well and found it to be very powerful. I think that telling ourselves the truth is one of the most important things we can do for self-care, and part of that truth is sometimes things aren't working the way we want. Sometimes there's a secret truth we haven't told to ourselves, and yet the truth really does set you free. I think another thing about truth that's really important is we don't tell ourselves the truth about what we know, and how strong we really are, and how good our instincts really are. And instead we want to be nice, and we want to not make a scene or any number of things along that line, but we're really strong and really intuitive. And yes, we actually really do know what's going on. And yes, we really are very good business people and make really good business decisions. And so to me, that's part of self-care also, is to value my brain and to value what I bring to the world, and that it's okay to be big in the world, right? And to step into that power in a very ladylike way.
Absolutely.
And just really stand in your big girl shoes. It's okay to be a big girl and make a big splash, and you can do it gracefully and with feminine ways. Along those lines, one of the things that really inflicted me for a long time, and probably always will, is perfectionism.
Right.
Whatever I'm doing, it's not enough. And I think that's why we end up talking so much about self-care, right? Because whatever we're already doing, those 10 million things we're already doing for all the people we love in our jobs, they're never enough. And becoming a freelance writer and coach and everything has just taught me that perfection is not going to happen. and that's a wonderful thing, because it means that what I bring is enough. And I think that's one of the ways that I practice self-care, is to go, I'm giving it my best, and that's enough. And to listen.
Yeah.
To listen to what's going on inside me first. Stephen Covey said we must take care of the golden goose so that it can keep laying the golden eggs and bringing gold into the world. We are the golden goose.
Absolutely.
And if we're depleted, we're the nurturers. And if we're drained dry by all of the things we feel like we should do, then we're not bringing all of ourselves to the table, and actually not doing the things that we were trying so hard to do.
Thank you, Lori.
Yes.
That's beautiful points. I want to talk to the idea of time, because for me, what I like to do for self-care, and what I recognize is that, like you said, we always think we have not enough time, because we have so many things that we're doing, we have so many requirements on our time, and I like to remind myself that it's always a choice. Like, it doesn't matter what our lives look like, everything in our life is a choice. So we have that power and that choice to make the time for ourselves if we feel worthy enough for it. So for me, one of my big things for self-love and having that time for me is listening to my body. You know, you talked about how you had an experience where you finally got sick, right? Because you didn't take that time for yourself and you didn't nourish your body. And I myself have gone through that kind of experience and just kind of through that process recently. And it almost just really put me to a halt. And I'm like, okay, it's really time to listen to my body. You know, I had all these stressors that were outside of my control, but then I had all this that was within my control. And I was pushing and pushing and pushing so hard that my stress level was so high that it was affecting me physically. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have to start listening to my body. Yeah. And the moment I started doing that, I found time. You know, I found more love for myself. I found new priorities that now I feel so much more peaceful and I feel so much more healthy. I've been making time every day for meditating and writing in my journal. And my most recent fun thing for myself and my body is yoga. It's an amazing spiritual, physical, and emotional healing that I've been able to do for my body. It's just been wonderful. So I think just finding one or two things that you can do, like you were talking about, baby steps. I think that's really important for us to just say, what is the one thing that I can do today that will make me feel like I love myself? How can I love my body today? And also the mirror work that you're talking about too, you know, getting up in the beginning of the day and saying, I love you, you know, and I'm going to show you that today by doing what's that one thing, you know, something that we can do for ourselves. Yeah. It's so important. You can't continue to give when you have nothing left to give. So it's so vital. So some other ideas that Eliza have for us too, which is just wonderful, is some of those adult coloring books. I don't know if you've seen them, but they're just so intricate and amazing. They're very meditative in themselves. You can take time to organize something so you feel better in your area, your surroundings. Clear something out. Write in your journal, deep breathing or meditation, getting pampered, facial, mani-pedi, whatever you really like to do there, enjoying a hot beverage, aromatherapy, playing soothing music, or maybe even just writing a story. Beautiful. So please email us to request your free PDF copy of Ways to Embrace Your Serenity. Aisha, you have worked with thousands of people, and the majority of which are women. What is one of the main tools that you use to help women dealing with stress and overwhelm?
Such a good question. One thing that I love to have the people that I'm doing that I work with is actually to create a joy list and really focusing on bringing more joy into their lives, right? Joy is very attractive, it's magnetic, and it just helps everything. And so the way you can create a joy list is to write down 10 things that cost money that you love to do. Just, brainstorm. It could be more. Write down 10 things, and then you write down 10 things that are free and that don't cost money, like going on a walk. I love to go roller skating. I love to walk with my dogs. I'd love to go to the coast, just things that really enrich your soul and your spirit. And then the key is not just to write them down, but is to actually make a joy day. And not that you're going to be able to take the whole day for that, but to time block. So every Thursday from 4 o'clock on in my calendar for the entire year, I have joy time. And I know that when people need me to schedule meetings, that's just a non-time that I have to work with. And every week I choose one of those activities. I might go hang out at the spa with a girlfriend. I might go shopping. I might go have lunch. Just whatever I really want to do with that time. It's so important to take that time to reset ourselves.
Yes.
And I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Most of us are operating from a place of depletion. Yeah. And with that, we have nothing to give, and it actually costs us in our relationships with our loved ones and our business, with our family. It costs us in so many ways. Yes. And so when we do things to nurture ourselves, to love ourselves, to fill our cup, you should only give the overflow from your cup. You should never give out of your cup. And so this is just one tip that I have people bring into their life. And again, oftentimes they'll hear, well, I don't have time. And as you just said, time is a choice. And what I found in my life, in fact, when I was told to do this, I was like, well, I don't have time to even schedule it on my calendar. I'm so busy. What do you mean time blocking? I don't have time to time block, right? I was so resistant. I don't have time to make that list, right? Because I was defining myself and my success on how busy I was, actually.
Right.
And what I found is that I have implemented self-care and that I make that such a priority that I actually have more time. And when I show up with my clients and when I show up to teach, I am more present and I am more tuned in and I can be more about them. Where I used to show up in my life and be about my hurried, late, stressed out self. And that is not really what I want to represent. You know, I want to represent what's possible in our life and actually be an example of what that looks like and that it actually is possible. Because I'm very busy. I run a large business, and I've realized by taking these times and make it a priority, I'm actually way more productive and way more present with everything else in my life. So please take the time to create your joy list and then implement it and commit to it. And, you know, done is better than perfect. I loved what you said about trusting your intuition and not hiding behind perfectionism.
Lori, in your experience, tell me about how journaling can benefit us, or any other tips that you have for us.
Sure. Oh, journaling. There's so many different ways to journal, right? You can journal in pictures. You can journal with the lines. I think journaling is a wonderful way to be self-affirming, and then also to help us find clarity about something that we're going through. I had a friend who journaled every single thing that happened so that she could look back through her life and see all the significant events that happened. And there are other people who just journal, you know, a few things as they come along. I think journaling is a great way to get to know ourselves on a much deeper level and to allow our wisdom, our individual wisdom, to come out on a day-to-day basis. And to show the things that we're grateful for, right? To record those down. I mean, I go back through it and go, oh yeah, I remember, you know, when that happened, or, you know, and then you can look back a year later and say, wow, I made it through all of that, really? And I think that's another gift of it as well. I think it's a wonderful tool. And I have idea journals too, because I'm highly right-brained, and so it's like they got to have a place to write all this down. And I found that little pieces of paper disappear. So a book, you know, that I can do whatever I want in it and write ideas and brainstorm, and then, you know, then there's a place for all those things to go.
Beautiful. So one tip by our show's producer, Eliza Boné, is to keep a gratitude journal. So you take time to really write down the things that you're grateful for. And going back to Aisha's idea of having gratitude, it's just a wonderful opportunity to put those things down. So every morning upon waking, before getting out of bed, just take 10 minutes to write in your journal. The key thing is to write about 3 things that you are grateful for that took place within the last 24 hours. This will serve 2 purposes. It sets your intention and mindset for the day, and second, it reinforces the memory of the positive experiences you have already recently had. Over time, you're more positive, you have a grateful attitude, and it will blossom more and more. So ladies, what suggestions do you have for various challenges that women have implementing self-care? So what kind of challenges do you see come up with your clients or people that you work with? And what are some solutions that you would give?
Well, I see women failing to trust themselves, just a lot of self-doubt and a lot of questioning and thinking they're not good enough. And I'm like, you are good enough. If you are feeling a desire in your heart to do something, whatever it is, whether it's a cause or a business or a project for your family, you're feeling that for a reason. Trust that and go with it. And find people in your life who support that and believe in you as well. I found peer support to be an incredible asset.
Wonderful. Aisha?
One thing that I find a lot is the difficulty for women in saying no and overcommitting and saying yes. And then if they say no, they feel guilty or think there needs to be some long rambling excuse why they have to say no.
Right.
And so I ask myself, is this in alignment for me? Is this in alignment with my goals? Is this in alignment with my values? And it might be something that's amazing, but I still might need to say no to it, because when you say yes, you're actually saying no to something else.
Right.
You know, you might be saying no to your joy time or to your self-care most oftentimes. And so practicing that and learning to say no and just saying no, thank you. You know, I love that you asked me that, and I'm sorry that I'm unable to be there, and not feeling the need to give a long excuse for why you're unable to do that.
How about yourself? Any suggestions?
I really find the time blocking to be really, really helpful. And it does allow me to then begin to prioritize, okay, what is really important to me? And to put some of my things that I value the most, my core values, come first. And so I found that to be extremely helpful.
Wonderful. Thank you. One of the reasons our producer, Eliza Boné, created this show is because she wanted to offer women resources in the community. I understand that each of you have something that you would like to share with our audience. Lori, can we start with you, please?
Absolutely. I would like to offer women a free 30-minute consultation for anything about writing that they'd like to know, whether it's for a business or creative writing or writer's block. And then also I have a PDF I'd like to share with them about tips for blogging consistently.
Wonderful. Aisha.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I too would like to offer a free 30-minute wellness consult to anybody who is interested, and we can discuss really anything they want about supporting their wellness with essential oils. But I would put out there that we can discuss designing a self-care routine and what does a morning and an evening ritual look like, and help dialing that in and actually implementing it. I also do have a wonderful, very informative PDF series with essential oil tips that I'd love to offer for free, with just some great pointers on how to use essential oils to support wellness and vitality.
Beautiful. And myself, I would also like to offer a 30-minute clarity session. And really what that's about is when you recognize that there's a block, maybe something that's keeping you from moving forward in your life, that's what that session's for. And I also have a PDF that is called 5 Rockstar Ways to Boost Your Bliss Every Day. So there's some really great ideas and tips for that. And I'm just so excited that we have 3 wonderful women in our community able to offer, from some free sessions, so you really get a chance to get to know each and every one of us if you take that opportunity, and help you in that path. Thank you for joining us. Tune in next month for another informative session that will inspire you to discover and reveal your inner pearl.